Kia ora, malo e lelei. And can I ask that we start this morning's press conference? Welcome to the joint press conference between the Government of New Zealand and the Government of Tonga to mark New Zealand's Pacific mission to Tonga for this year, 2025. We are honored to have here this morning the New Zealand Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs, the Right Honourable Winston Peters, and the Prime Minister of Tonga, Honourable Dr. ʻAisake. For today's program, they would start with their opening remarks and official remarks, and then followed by questions from the media. I would kindly ask the media that because of time and the tight program for today, you will only have 3 questions each from Tonga and the New Zealand media, please. But we'll ask the Tonga Prime Minister, Honourable Dr. ʻAisake, to please deliver his welcoming and official remarks, and then we'll continue. Malo aupito.
Deputy Prime Minister, Honourable Winston, Cabinet Ministers of the New Zealand Government, Cabinet Ministers of His Majesty Government, esteemed members of the New Zealand Parliament, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Kia ora and malo lelei. It is a great pleasure for me to welcome the Deputy Prime Minister of New Zealand, Honourable Winston Peters, and his delegations to the Kingdom. Honourable Winston Peters is no stranger to Tonga and to the Pacific as well. We have welcomed him on our shores on many different occasions and in various capacities spanning across many years. As a matter of fact, some of you have met him during a career and have followed closely the work he has led for the Pacific, namely the Pacific Reset Programme, and the other notable integrated approach that New Zealand is engaging with Tonga. Honourable Peters has a deep understanding of the Pacific and the relations with the world at large and how we can strengthen the Tonga-New Zealand partnership. He is a close and trusted friend of Tonga. This morning, the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and I had met briefly to discuss our thriving bilateral relationship and ongoing partnerships. As a key partner, New Zealand plays an important role in the regions. As you are all aware, Tonga enjoys a long-term special relationship with New Zealand, which is home to approximately 82,000 Tongans, both legal and legal, I suppose. One of our largest diaspora community abroad. This is underscored by our shared cultural history and values and ever-expanding people-to-people connections. One cannot ignore the fact that both New Zealand and Tonga share a great passion for rugby. We try our best than any other nations, as you have seen with the All Black and Matema Tongan. We have enjoyed this long-standing friendship with mutual respect beyond our formal government to government bilateral arrangements. The third largest Pacific Islands community group in New Zealand are our people, Tātai Whanua, Mawhiwhinei Whanua Tonga. And I am pleased that Honourable Winston Peters, in his capacity as Minister of Foreign Affairs, had the opportunity to meet with Royal Highness, the Crown Prince Tupotoa Urukalala, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, to explore and pursue ways to further deepen our bilateral relationship. The strengthening of our diplomatic and development cooperations is core to facilitating the breadth of our cross-government relationship and program for both our people who are in New Zealand and Tonga. A few minutes ago, we just concluded a productive bilateral meeting between our Tongan Cabinet Minister and the New Zealand Deputy Prime Minister and his delegations. The Government of Tonga has highlighted its appreciation to the Government of New Zealand for the ongoing support to our shared priorities in government institutions, peace and security, health and climate change. We have seen our cooperation strengthening across priority areas of sustainable development, including law and justice, education and workforce skills. I also acknowledge the presence of the New Zealand Minister of Pacific People's University, Honourable Dr. Shane Reddy, who had, I believe, a very good bilateral with our Minister of Education, Honourable Dr. Hula Mulang Fasi, and our local university leaders on prospect for future partnerships and cooperation in the education sector is a key pillar of this partnership. I also acknowledge the presence of New Zealand Minister of Climate Change, Honourable Simon Watts, and the Minister for Court and Justice, Honourable Nicole Maki, who had the opportunity to meet with our Deputy Prime Minister, Honourable Dr. Daniela Fusmalohi, who also acting Minister of Justice, Honourable sinai takalatu tahi to strengthen partnerships in both areas. This year remains a big year for Tonga as it continues to share the Pacific Island Forum, and we are grateful to New Zealand for all the support for a resilient and prosperous regions. We are pleased to have the support of parliamentarians or delegations who are daughters of Tonga, MP Sepuloni and MP Salesa, for joining us today. Once again, Deputy Prime Minister, we will welcome you and our delegation visiting Tonga. Malo abito. Thank you.
Kia ora, and good morning. The New Zealand Parliamentary Cross-Party Delegation is delighted to be here with the Prime Minister and members of the Tongan Cabinet, and to also have a chance to salute the fact that the Tongan Government and the Tongan Prime Minister are critical leadership in terms of the Pacific Islands Forum, which is the key critical body that we're a part of here in our part of the world, and covering 31% of the world's surface, just in case anybody doesn't think that's important. Second thing is we have deep connections, New Zealand does, with the Pacific. As a Pacific Island country, we are linked by geography, history, culture, politics, demography, and indeed, possibly because we got pushed out by some of you, had to paddle further, row harder, all the way to be north of the Penguins and around in New Zealand a long, long time ago. That's why our government has put the Pacific once again in the forefront of our foreign policy, and we are committed to investing in these connections, including through our people-to-people linkages, our people and our friends. We're not just talking about it, and we're not, as they say sometimes in the deep south of the United States, fast on the lip and slow on the hip. We are seriously, Prime Minister, about getting this relationship going, bringing others around the world into it in this theatre that we do share. As part of this, the New Zealand Government is making it simpler for our Pacific neighbours to visit New Zealand. From this year in July, the standard visitor visa validity period will be extended to 24 months for nationals from Pacific Islands Forum countries who require a visa. These visas will be multi-entry. This means that Pacific nationals will be able to visit New Zealand as many times as they want over 24 months, with a total stay of 9 months in any of the 18-month period. That's a change from our standard settings, which usually grant a 12-month visa that allows for a total stay of 6 months in a 12-month period. Now, as we say all around the Pacific, when it comes to our cousins, stick to the law when you get to our country and don't overstay it, and then ring us all up as MPs in saying somebody's fouled up with the New Zealand immigration system, as happened to me recently with somebody from French Polynesia. He was going on about his cousin this and cousin that and how she's innocent and everything else, and I did some chronological work and she overstayed massively twice. So that's one of the reasons why we're slightly suspicious the next time she made an application. So we're saying we want to get this working like clockwork, but like cousins, we shake hands and we keep our word. But later this year, nationals from Pacific Island Forum countries who are travelling from Australia to New Zealand and who hold a valid Australian visitor, work, student or family visa will be able to travel to New Zealand for up to 3 months without needing a New Zealand visa. This means that Pacific nationals travelling from Australia will only have to apply for the NZETA before coming to New Zealand, as is the case for travellers from visa waiver countries. So it's simplified, and also there's a cost structure which we'll be announcing later, possibly part of the budget, but it'll be more reasonable than you might have suspected, as some of you say, from the current government. These immigration changes are a tangible step to increase the connection between New Zealand and Pacific Island Forum countries. But overall, we're delighted to be a cross-party parliamentary delegation. Our purpose is to ensure that inside the New Zealand Parliament there's a far better understanding growing through the ages about our shared needs, our shared concerns, our shared dreams, and our shared aspirations. And dare I say it, the God we share. Thank you very much, and God bless Tonga.
Thank you very much.
Any questions? Sorry, that's what they would have said, would it?
Yeah, happy all, eh? No more questions?
No, okay.
Malo elele. My question is for New Zealand Foreign Minister, Honourable Minister Peters. New Zealand Prime Minister said yesterday that New Zealand is fighting for free trade and rules-based order and plans to increase spending on defense. You met with Tonga's Minister for Foreign Affairs this morning. Is Tonga on board with this fight? Is it a like-minded country in your point of view? If not, what are the key differences on defense and trade?
Well, we are increasing our defence spending. We have to. And that actually is shared across the political divide in New Zealand as well. The Labour Party leader affirmed that that was required to be done. We believe that Tonga is in the same space when it comes to that. On the other questions, the answer is yes. But on your first question, which was in a fight for trade, no, we're not. We're not. We should be patient. Wait to see what settles here. Wait till the dust settles. We don't know where the tariff positioning is going, but let us find out before we make any further comment or make an unnecessary comment that it maybe annoys somebody. So, in that context, we are very acutely aware of the Pacific trading requirements, and we'll be doing our best as time goes forward to ensure that the American government understands that as well. For example, the balance of trade between Tonga and the United States is massively in America's favour. So we just want to make sure that they get the facts right. It's a big world. There's over 200 countries on a good day and about 190 on a bad day at the United Nations, depending on who you recognise. And it's quite possible that some of the smaller countries' argument is not being presented. So we can be of any help in putting the facts and including put the facts correct where we are concerned, because they got that wrong as well, don't forget. They said we were 20%. We weren't anything like that at all. Quite the contrary. So our job is to make sure that the Pacific story that joins us all up is properly told to the big countries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And New Zealand?
No, we're going to Tonga first.
Tonga again? Thank you.
Malolele and welcome to Tonga. Marian Gupel from ABC here in Tonga. So you just had a meeting with our cabinet, and can you share some of the priorities that were highlighted from Tonga, and how will New Zealand government be further supporting these priorities given the growing interest from other global powers in the Pacific? How is New Zealand ensuring its engagement remaining genuine and mutually respectful, and what distinguishes New Zealand's approach in the Pacific from other Pacific players, interested players, I may say?
You know, I once had a examination in law on a subject called equity, and like you, there are only 3 questions. I thought there's one question at a time. Your first question was massive because it included all the cabinet ministers' expression of their concerns and shared interests. And I think the Prime Minister is better able to repeat that to you than me, but it crossed areas like health, like crime, like serious drug use, smuggling, policing, working on policing, the forward plan going forward in terms of the 5 years, the recent National Development Strategy. It was a pretty substantive 50-minute conversation, and I don't want to summate it as briefly, just one paragraph, so to speak. Now, I forgot the other 2 questions you asked.
The other one was the interest of global powers in the Pacific, and how is New Zealand approaching and reacting to that?
Well, there's no doubt there's interest in global powers in the Pacific. Our belief has always been that where you leave vacuums, they'll be filled, and sometimes filled with countries that do not share your belief in democracy, do not share your belief in the rule of law, do not share your belief in the right to worship a God of your choice. These are pretty fundamental beliefs in the Pacific, and it's in those aspirations we wish to join up. Not trying to tell the Pacific what to do in any other way, shape or form, but to say that we do believe that there's something special about the name Pacific, and we want that name to go on meaning what it should mean.
Thank you. Last one from Tonga, Media side.
Maloi Lele, I'm Lilian from Tonga Broadcasting Commission. My question will be, is New Zealand expanding the recognized seasonal employer scheme to offer more jobs for Tongan workers, and how is worker welfare is being addressed?
Well, on the first question, let me say I was the minister that brought that in 2007, and we are proud of it. We want to, at that point in time, be able to say, in answer to your second question, that if you trusted your young people to come to New Zealand our country would be in loco parentis, we'd be in the shoes of your workers' parents, so to speak, taking parental care of them. And we've got to stand up for that. And massively we've done that, but there have been the odd time it has not happened. Our job is to find out when it goes wrong and to make it right. Are we going to expand the scheme? I believe most certainly so, because it is necessary in more fields as we get new industries going, where we don't have, dare I say it, the level of determined conviction to turn up at work as we ourselves reshape some of our own workforce. So yes, I believe there'll be more chance in the future for the reason the RSE to be operating. We're going to be very closely examine the employer's obligations to ensure at no point do we not fulfil the original obligations we entered into in 2007.
Kia ora and talofa. The leaders of Fiji, Samoa and Solomon Islands have called for a visa-free entry. Why is the multi-entry visa a better option? Why can't the Pacific, get a visa-free entry into New Zealand, but other distant countries can?
My abbreviated answer to that question is it all looks fantastic until you get in front of the Minister of Finance or the Minister in charge of Customs and all the ministers responsible, and you find what the cost of administration is. It's quite huge. We're trying to make sure that we arrive at a reasonable cost, so to speak. Downstream, is it likely to happen? Some time from now, possibly, but we are, at the moment, in this computerized age, are finding it extraordinarily difficult, and other countries do, to get this area of our operations right, immigration, visas and all those things. I don't know why it is, in this modern computerized age, why there's so much of it worldwide that's going wrong.
Maloi Laumalie e ki pale mia koku wheho ipe. As chair of the Pacific Islands Forum, Tonga holds a crucial leadership role at a time when regional unity is being tested, particularly with recent tensions involving New Zealand, Cook Islands and Kiribati. How are you managing these challenges behind the scenes, and what is your approach to fostering dialogue and unity in the region as the Forum chair?
No, thanks very much. In fact, there has been a good exchange between New Zealand and also Cook Islands on this particular issues, and I think it's very clear the intentions were, that actually pursue their own public interest at the same time, recognize the importance of maintaining harmony and also security for the regions, and I think that has been resolved wisely. In fact, that the issue was brought to my attention, and I'm thankful that even though we have those kind of things, seems to be from outside, some sort of tensions, but actually able to sort it out inside. So it's a matter of making clarity what actually different interests trying to be, pursue at the same time we maintain harmony within our Pacific region. That's how we work. We have to work together to get the views from different areas, and then we see what common ground we could actually maintain, and that's what happened here. And I'm thankful New Zealand government also for a government of Cook Islands being open-minded, and also at the same time we see where commonality is.
Have you met with the other leaders of the Cook Islands and Kiribati recently, and what have the conversations been in your capacity as the chair for PIF? Thank
you. I have received a letter from his Prime Minister of Cook Islands, and that's what he has told us because of that potential issue in the Pacific among our member countries, and that's what has transpired. And we are going to have the meeting, in fact, Troika meeting will be held in Fiji next week, and also will be upcoming one in September this year. But that's what the conversation we had. Anything that arises in the Pacific, in my capacity as the chairman of the Pacific Forum, we have internal discussions in both parties, and that's how we actually manage our affair in a regional basis. And that's, I think, I'm very helpful that the Pacific people actually are able to continue dialogue, and that's how we resolve any potential tensions.
And will that be the first meeting you're chairing as PIF chair since assuming into the role?
Yes, I have been since day one. When we arrived at the government, Prime Minister's office, actually that's where we begin. And that has been continuing. I'm thankful for the Forum Secretariat for actually keeping us in touch and also connected with other member countries. And I'm very happy In fact, as you might recall, about 2 weeks ago, we had the special FEM, Financial Economic Ministers special meeting for the first time in the history of the regional economic ministers meeting to resolve one particular issue with regard to the establishment of Pacific Resilience Facility, which we have, the meeting actually endorsed unanimously. And that's how, the testimony of how solidarity and also unity being intact in our regional cooperations.
Why has it taken you this long to chair a PIF meeting since getting into the role?
No, as I said, I've started the role on the day one. And since then, I have been assuming the responsibility until September, when I hand over the responsibility to Solomon, who's the next host, and that will be the next one. So we both, pursuing national, also regional issues, and that's why it's very important his special visit to us. So our dialogue's not only concentrated on a national, but also regional issue and also international development. And I thank him being around. He knows very well, and I think personal, intimacy, I think helps in terms of trying to get together us all in one pool. Thank you.
I just want to remind you of a great story. This is late 1980s, and this young Tongan is in Australia. Illegally, until they realise, hang on, this fellow's pretty good at rugby, and so we'll switch our immigration and our passport rules right here, right now. We'll make him a citizen. His name was Willie Offengawe, and they went on to win the World Cup in 1991. That's what immigration can be like.
Yes.
One more question. I do have a question. As opposed to our cousins, and it's a direct impact of our cousins in your country. We recently celebrated the 50th year of the Polyfest. However, there was some upset because the funds were cut. Why, and were they diverted? Where were they diverted? This question is stemmed because we heavily rely on foreign aid, and not just on a diplomatic level, but also remittances is one of the number one sources of income. And just as if the funds are being cut, would that in some way impact how they feel about their culture and how they would want to give back to the Pacific cousins in the Pacific?
Well, on the second question, I suspect you're talking about the level of commissions on remittances back home, and I think that is an area worthy of serious investigation to get fairness. I seriously do. On the other one, well, I can tell you half of us were there at the time when the then organiser out there in Mangani was giving us a real wind-up, much more powerful than your request, about the proper funding of Polyfest. But the weather was so bad that day, of course, it was very hard for us to stay around. That's a question that we need to answer better for the next year's event.
Thanks very much. Let's wrap up our press conference. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Thank you.